I want to talk about something that should make every single one of you furious. And frankly, every lawyer, judge, and law student in this country should be uncomfortable because of the message the Florida bar has sent. And we're learning about this for the first time this week. And this comes after I recorded a video defending the American Bar Association and the Florida Bar from the Florida Attorney General. But now, according to the Florida Bar, sex trafficking allegations, crimes against children, paying minors for sex, using drugs, obstructing investigations, and abusing public office have absolutely nothing to do with whether somebody should be able to practice law, especially if you have the right last name. And that last name is Gaetz. And as much as I hate to talk about this subhuman, I'm talking about Matt Gaetz, the congressman from my home district in Northwest Florida, the former congressman, and how he always seems to avoid accountability, no matter how despicable his actions are. You may remember that Gaetz resigned from Congress in November 2024 when then President-elect Trump nominated him to be the U.S. Attorney General. This is coming after the FBI and the House Ethics Committee investigated Gaetz for using illicit drugs, attending wild sex parties, and worst of all, having sex with a minor and paying her for it. We know that Gaetz withdrew from consideration for the AG spot, and a month later, in December 2024, the House Ethics Committee damning report was released. And it found substantial evidence, their words, substantial evidence, that Gaetz paid for sex and drugs on over 20 occasions, and that he willfully obstructed the investigation, that he used cocaine and ecstasy during his time in Congress. We heard about him showing lewd photographs on the congressional floor. He even accepted an impermissible trip to the Bahamas as a gift. And of course, Gaetz denies these allegations, and he blames it on Israel?
It was troubling and concerning to me that someone who was getting paid by the Israeli government was involved in a criminal shakedown of a U.S. congressman.
Yeah, this whole Israel connection came after the investigation was started. And yeah, there was this whole tangled web involving someone at the Israeli consulate office and Iranian hostages, and even the Dilbert creator Scott Adams, an overall terrible human, was involved. You can't make that up. But none of that takes away from the fact that the investigations done by both the FBI and the House found, again, substantial evidence of his sickening behavior. So you would think that Matt Gaetz would face some consequences, right? Think again. This week, we learned through the reporting of FloridaBulldog.org that back in August, the Florida Bar let Gaetz off the hook. Their reasoning? That the alleged behavior occurred while he was a sitting member of Congress, and therefore it had nothing to do with the practice of law. The Florida Bar's letter, penned by Grievance Committee Chair Casey Pless Waterhouse, said that the decision to take no action against Gaetz was not based upon a determination that the House report's findings were not accurate. Not that we investigated and found no wrongdoing, not that the evidence was insufficient, but essentially, yeah, all of this probably happened, but it doesn't count here. And look, this is the same Florida Bar that'll suspend an attorney for being late on their dues, like I said in a prior video. The Florida Bar routinely disciplines lawyer behavior outside the courtroom, including for DUIs, domestic violence, fraud, dishonesty, because all of those things reflect on the profession. But allegedly paying a 17-year-old for sex while crossing state lines, that doesn't count. And while Gaetz and others are trying to pass these allegations off as rumor and conjecture, it came from sworn testimony, digital payment records, contemporaneous messages, travel records, and corroborated accounts. Plus, just look at this guy. If that crazy QAnon theory that the elites in society were kidnapping kids and using their blood to fight aging, if that ever turned out to be true, based just on his looks, Matt Gaetz should be suspect number one. And yet somehow, Gaetz still manages to stay in the spotlight. Somehow he has a show on OAN, not that anybody watches. And as of last month, he's now part of the Pentagon the Pentagon Press Corps. And look, if you're from Northwest Florida like us, you've known that Gaetz has always skirted accountability, largely because his father, known as Daddy Gaetz, is such a powerful political figure in Florida. And Matt Baby Gaetz, as he's known around here, has always had enough privilege to get away with whatever he wants. And this is yet another example of Republicans getting away with sexual crimes involving children. Remember, this is the party that is so obsessed with people using the wrong restrooms and making movies about saving kids from sex traffickers. And they're turning a blind eye when it's their own people. Which, by the way, this is your daily reminder that the DOJ is over a month beyond their deadline to release the completed Epstein files. And just like Trump, when faced with disgusting, substantial evidence that you sexually abused children, all you do is you claim that it's some hoax or a plot drummed up by a foreign government, and you get away scot-free. Thanks for watching that video. Be sure to like and share it all over the place. And then during the week, catch Jared. I'll be back next weekend with more Ring of Fire weekends. Be sure to like and subscribe.